Whispers tearing lives, hearts raw scarred. Judges grinning, deals in shadows locked. Case workers speaking truth they've mocked. Gunning on for justice, rage intense. Bringing kids home from this broken fence. Corruption weighs heavy, laws collapse. Kids go missing behind their maps. CPS stealing kids, no trace. Lies build walls, the truth they erase. Gunners howl, cuts through the air. He won't stop midnight, he'll get there. Dark hallways where the guilty play. Secrets hiding, hope fades away. A man with fire, voice like a storm. Breaking chains, reform, transform. Gunning on for justice, rage intense. Bringing kids home from this broken fence. Corruption weighs heavy, laws collapse. Kids go missing behind their maps. Family shattered, cries dulled by fights. CPS takes them in the dead of night. But Gunner speaks of brighter days, cut through the lies. Light ablaze! Family shattered, cries dulled by fights. CPS takes them in the dead of night. But Gunner speaks of brighter days, cut through the lies. Light ablaze.
Hey look, this for every mama got her baby snatched on some bogus shit. For every pops they locked out the crib like he ain't blood. CPS, y'all been eating off pain for too long. We know what you on, but now it's war, this gunning foe, CPS. Kick doors, no warrants, they taking our seeds. Say it's neglect, but they planting they greed. Feds in they pocket, judge got a fee. Run it like a business, adoption spree. Contracts overseas, got partners in France. But shorty from Shy, he ain't get a chance. Mama work 2 jobs, daddy do right, but they still snatch his baby in the middle of the night. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's Suffer Davis popping and we loaded the clip. Gunner got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters, called us unfit, but it's they paperwork dirty, all of it forged and flipped. How the fuck they selling babies to a bidder overseas? Then tell the fam you unworthy. Man, please, we got mamas in pain, daddies in tears. They breaking our hearts, been doing it for years. Now we riding with Gunner, and we got the proof. Sworn sworn under oath. Now it's time for truth. Trump got the team and the pen in his hand. He said bring them home. Now that's the plan. You feds been hiding, but it's over now. We moving like an army, and we ain't bowing down. Fuck CPS, they ain't saving shit. Just a system full of snakes getting rich off kids. We see through the cap, we done taken the hit. Now it's off of Davis popping, and we loaded the clip. Gunna got the case, now we in that fight. Taking this to SCOTUS, shining that light. They ruined good homes, now we flipping that script. Time to bring them back, time to empty the clip. They ain't gods, they ain't law, they just people. Corrupt people, and when the people rise, ain't no system safe. The Chi-Town, it's the movement. We gunning for CPS, and we coming heavy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Wait.
Good evening. Welcome to Gunning for CPS. I'm your host, Gunner. Welcome tonight. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We've got a lot to cover. We're going to give you a ton of information for your own research and some education here on some constitutional rights, and also an update for you guys out there that have turned in affidavits. Yes, we are working on that letter for you, but we're making sure that it's bulletproof. And we're going to make sure that you understand the law so you can articulate what you need to when those come out and how those are particularly used. I'm hoping that I think Darren was working on, he popped in earlier. He may join us a little bit later, but it looks like he's trying to come in. But guys, check this out. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today, but let's keep our focus in on what we're doing. Yes, we are returning to the Constitution. The Constitution is being enforced. So understand that everything is going on in our world today. This is our return to the Constitution of all these slack laws, all these slack, these mayors, these governors, and everything else that are not following the Constitution. Yes, it is going to be enforced. Why? Because the Constitution is the law of the land. So guys, let's just dip in just real quick. I'm gonna show you guys just some stuff now. We've got some things going on here in Blount County, Tennessee. If you guys are here local, this is going to blow your mind. Now, you guys have heard me talk about several times before about the teacher that was moved around between a bunch of different schools here in Blount County for over 20 years, over 80 kids that were affected, and recently convicted of only 6 months. And it was suspended. In other words, if he takes and does his 6 months of probation, they will wipe his record clean and reoffend. And a lot of people in Blount County, if you're here from Blount County, I am going to explain. Hello, everybody out there. We see Sharon, we see James, we see Debbie, we see Lewis. We've got several others in there. We're doing our best. We got a lot to cover. Guys, check this out. Now, not only has that been going on in Blount County, this shows you the amount of corruption and how they do this. And I'm going to explain to you guys in Blount County why, as well as other areas, this affects you too, of why this takes and makes such a difference. This here is a local, right here's the local news. And we're going to scroll up here. A Blount County teacher has received charges of dismissal over allegations of inappropriate behavior. This is at a middle school. Okay. And she is a tenured teacher, but she also has connections with the school board. In other words, these people are connected, related, or something like that. Here's another teacher going on here in Blount County that, yes, this is that bad. Brad, thanks for joining us. I'm Brad. For most of you that don't know, Brad is actually a teacher in a school system, and we're going to get some more details because, Brad, you and I definitely need to hook up because I'd love to know what district and everything else, and we don't need to put that on the air. Send me a private message. It's on Gunning for CPS on Facebook. I definitely want to get together with you because there's more information, but I want to show some of the stuff that's going on in our public school system that Brad is in a really good place to where he's got good teachers, good support, and so forth. But they don't realize what's going on sometimes. Of this is what's going on. And here in Blount County, Tennessee, this is what we're dealing with: a corrupt school system, a district attorney and sheriff's office that cover up these crimes, won't do investigations and reports. When those things are reported, they will not go against CPS or they bury this. And here's the reason. I'm going to tell you why. And I know it's not going to, and this makes a whole lot of sense, because if this one teacher, that's 80 kids, right? That's a CPS case for each one. That's money. That's government money. That's title, there's different title money that they get. There's title four, there's DE, several different ones. They all get into this amount of money. And this is what they do, is they recirculate or create their own money or create their own business. So it makes sense business-wise for them to let this teacher off to reoffend or even go to a different part of the state or to another state, and all that's wiped off their record to reoffend. Why? That's over 80 kids in 80 cases that now they get to open and even attack the parents of saying, you are such a bad parent. Why didn't you come forward with this? Or why did you let this happen to your kid? And they blame the parents. That's exactly what's going on. And that's more money. Now, that's not just more money for CPS. That's also money for a child advocacy center, because a lot of times they will force you to go into this approved. And here's the other thing that kills me. It's the only one that's in usually your county that's approved. And that's where they're pushed. That's how they're working together, business hand in hand. The same thing that happens here in Blount County with the New Hope Child Advocacy Center. Now, a lot of people are going to turn around and say, well, be careful putting those things. No, because we even have evidence that they were deleting evidence, suppressing evidence to cover up for CPS just in our case. And that's been well known. Now, I'm going to share some information with you for your own research. And this is where you go. And people say, I don't understand. I don't know where to go. Where do I take and I find this information on all these things? Well, I'm going to show you right here tonight. For a child advocacy center, let's see if we can get this go. This is where you want to go. This is their rule book. Okay. This is the federal standard right here that a child advocacy center must meet. And it's been a little thirsty tonight. So let me maximize this a little bit here. This is the accreditation standards for both state and federal standards that they must meet. This is where you look up to see whether or not they're even compliant. So the New Hope Child Advocacy Center is not compliant because of record retention and deleting video evidence. Why? Anytime there's an interaction between the parents and children with the CAC Center or with CPS, it must be documented and retained until the child comes of the age of 19. And now a lot of that has changed. Some people say it has to be returned, even longer than that in other states. So check your state standards for what this is. This is where you go to find out those things. Now, that's just one, okay? We're going to show you some more. Now, this is dropping a lot of knowledge on you, and it's a lot of stuff. You guys that do a lot of digging and want that information, this is where you find this stuff. This is their standards. These are the things that they are held accountable to even get that federal funding. If they don't meet that standard, that's called fraud. They're not legally able to do anything, let alone enter things in court, let alone anything in court. And I was looking under, we were running around a bunch of other things, but let's go on to the next one. Here's the next one. This is the federal rules of civil procedure that your judges and magistrates must follow. If you'll notice, FRP, the rules 73 governs the uses of magistrates, judges in civil cases. In other words, your state thing. Notice the first part here, how it works. The clerk informs the parties of their opportunity to consent. Wait a minute. Consent? You mean I don't have to consent to go with CPS and everything else in there? No, they must consent. They can't. And this includes a jury or a jury trial, according to your due process. And then, of course, it goes to the appellate court. Well, and you can read right here, magistrates, this is the rules of federal procedure. This is what you look for on what your judges and magistrates can and cannot do. And also understanding they must understand what the law is. Now, we've shared that, if you'll see in a little bit before the show, and I'll see if I can get it here. I believe we have that right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Let me change that image. I think we've got it. I've got so much here. This is statute and law and everything else. This is deprivation of rights, saying that a judge or anybody else that does not follow the Constitution. Do you see this here? That's called deprivation of rights. What does it say? The imprisonment for each particular case is a term for life. You see this here? Life, or this is crazy. All this stuff, and may be sentenced to death. Violation, including kidnapping. What is CPS doing? Kidnapping and abusing your children. What are those caseworkers and everybody else? This is what they're going to have to face: imprisonment or death. Why do you think they're opening Alcatraz? Uh-oh. Yeah, it's getting real for you now, isn't it? We're starting to wake up. So there's so much of this stuff out here. And let's go for Tennessee. Here's one just for Tennessee people. And you're going to love this. Tennessee courts, when you enter upon, now what does CPS do? They actually take and come into your house and say they have a right to enter your home. It's in their own paperwork. Well, it says right there that anything here must be suppressed. What is that talking about when it says about obtaining evidence on an illegal entry? It must be suppressed. It's referring to the fruit from a poisonous tree doctrine. And here's the case law for Tennessee. Hey, caseworker entered my house illegally. Where's your warrant? What's it say? Unreasonable search and seizure. It says right here, you got to have a search warrant. You got to have a court order. It's backing it up. But do these judges and do anything about it? Absolutely not. Why? Because they're corrupt. That's what's going on in Blount County, even to the point they've all signed. And I know if you're from Blount County, and they signed a thing here in Blount County to turn around and say with all the judges up at the Blount County courthouse that they signed a thing saying you can't put digital devices or anything else and bring it in the courtroom, especially things with cameras. You have to leave them outside. Well, what if your evidence is on your phone? And it says, well, you have to have permission from the judge. No, I don't. Under the Constitution, I have a right to bring whatever it is in the courtroom for my defense. I do not need a judge's permission. Now, how's that going to bite the judges up here? Where this caseworker committed perjury on the stand? Yeah, and even it's in my federal case, it was about perjury because he lied saying I gave permission to give consent to, and he signed my name. Didn't do that. That wasn't me. He even admitted on the stand, yes, I signed it. Right there. Well, that evidence was forced to be out in my truck in the parking lot because the sheriff's department has officers placed with metal detectors. You can't even bring those in the building. That's my evidence. That's a violation of due process for everybody that's walked through those courthouse doors. What does that mean for the Blount County Courthouse? Every case since that thing has been signed is unconstitutional and must be overturned. That's what they're scared of. That's why they're scared of me. Actually, Brad, we're going to deal with that tonight as far as wellness checks and everything else are lawful entry orders. No, they are. Not. Sorry, guys. Once again, I start talking about certain things. You notice how they block me out. That's right. So we're going to talk about, like I said, there's a couple other things that are out there. Um, it says, the judges, and I'm going to find this other one here. Give me 1 second, and I'll find it. And what it talks about is the fact that when judges, they have that particular thing of their responsibilities that they have, they're talked about actually taking, and they have a duty or a must know the law. Oh, there it is. 1985. Let me bring this one up on the screen. Sorry, we've got a lot of stuff to cover, and it's all over the place on my computer. I'm down to one. I miss my office. And yes, every time they do that, they want to come after me. And like I said, this is part of what they do. Let's cover this right here. Judges. Let's see. Right here, when you say your judge doesn't know or anything else about your constitutional rights, let's read this here. Title 18 USC section 241 and 242. Let's go through this. Title 42. If completed, you are subject to $1,000 and 10 years in jail, or both if the theft results in life in prison. That's talking about judges. Now, Title 42 USC section 1983, 85, and 86 clearly establishes the right that anybody can sue anyone who violates your constitutional rights. That includes the judge. The Constitution guarantees that whoever should unlawfully jeopardize your property loses property to you, and that's what justice is all about. Judges are deemed, look at this here, judges are deemed to know the law and are sworn to uphold it. That's their oath, which is what you're claiming, their violation of their oath, to uphold it, and can hardly claim that they have acted in good faith or willful deformation of law, and clearly cannot plead ignorance of law, for that would make the law look unintelligent for the knowledgeable judge to claim ignorance of the law when a citizen on the street cannot claim ignorance of law. Therefore, there is no such thing as judicial immunity when it comes to constitutional rights. Wow. Ain't you guys heard something different lately with a lot of cases? And a lot of them saying, we're going to pass this, we're going to pass this. You can't. That's in state court, not in federal court. See, there's the big difference. And listen, guys, I want to thank you all once again for liking and following the show, especially here on Gunning for CPS or our Facebook page that we have there. Once again, we have been banned from TikTok and other platforms for sharing the same information and labeling it misinformation. Now, we've had a lot of positive stuff going on. Listen, I was reached out today, and I know some of you guys do follow a lot of other things, but we were reached out today, and we'll give you this, that Miss Courtney Allen has reached out from Patriot Strong with her podcast, and has actually extended the leave and the invitation to be a guest on her show. And as you know, she has several thousands of followers on hers, and I guess she has heard about what is going on with us, and really wants to hear, what's going on. Now we're going to share a couple things. Now I'm going to show you a couple things, and we're going to cover some things as far as your Fourth Amendment, and this is going to be it's going to blow your mind, just completely crazy. And we're going to go through this. Let me see if I can bring this up here. And let me get this spun up for you guys. There you go. So let's watch this video together, and let's go and spot. This is a caseworker. This is somebody that sent me and posted their stuff on Facebook that turn around and says, here, show the videos of this and that. And you'll notice the placement, the way they're talking. This is coercion to entry and intimidation. Let alone you're going to watch what happens in some of these videos. It's going to blow your mind. But let's watch this together.
Yes, but because I just want to get the attention, I think his oath with the verbal talking. I didn't cuss or anything like that.
But that's towards you. That went. But
but this is towards me, a part of me.
But that's defending a child.
Part of me that's here to talk to you and we have a concern that we have when we get that pushback. Yes, that's how it is.
That there will be violence.
There will be some trouble because the way you guys are doing this and the kids are coming around and she continuously going with it, so it's concerning. Yeah, I understand, but it's
you know that I'm filming everything, right? I'm filming all that you're saying. Do you understand that there's a camera?
They're proud
on
of these
every
people
word
for
you're saying,
filming
and
this.
You and him talking. Okay, so
Listen to her coerce her way into the home and commit several constitutional rights violations. One, questioning somebody on private property is a Fourth Amendment violation of seizure.
Because he doesn't want it.
See how she moves out of the camera angle?
Just so you know, there's no violence,
We don't. That's disgusting behavior. That is very disgusting behavior. And I hope you don't have violence in your home either, because we don't tolerate that stuff over here.
Accusations, all of this. Where's the proof?
Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
He has a temporary 50-50 order, and he's in mediation for her. And at this time, she has been withholding the child because things are not. She didn't get the child support she wanted, so she's a little upset. Things aren't going her way. She's grabbing at straws now.
Yes, ma'am.
When was the last time you seen it?
Last Sunday before last.
He's going to see AO and Icon after this.
Now, we're going to go on. Now, listen to this.
The contract that you're going to get from me, but you need to be noticed, ma'am, that I am ADA, and I have civil rights. Just so you know that your supervisor knows, I'll go ahead and forward this to your email as well, okay? So you don't want to...
I mean, like I tell you, if we want
me and my children are both covered.
We would just call you as a parent.
Well, what's the difference, ma'am? It's virtual. It's virtual. It's virtual, and it's like live right now.
No, it's not. I understand, but it's not how you think.
Okay, so you think you're gonna watch my man with the door cracked? You would not let me watch your man with the door cracked. Come on, ma'am. You know that. You would not let your man. Come on. So you really are gonna come in our house and watch my man with the door cracked?
Okay, now what she's talking about here is CPS has come in and says, we want to do a drug test on you and do it in your home. And she wants the guy to leave the door cracked open while he's urinating in the piss test that they're not even authorized or legally able to collect, because that is practicing medicine without a license, because it's a lab thing and they are not certified to do those. You have to have credentials to apply those. And understand too, in this also, this is, two people that are living together and understand the constitutional rights. He has constitutional rights and so does she. If they both don't agree, then yes, they need to have a warrant or a court order to enter the home.
She wants the door cracked. I don't know. But hey, I'm just going to leave because she wants to drug test you with the door cracked. That's crazy to me. I don't think so. You wouldn't let a guy watch me.
Wow. Talk about perverts. Now, did you hear what she said? She says a female caseworker wants to watch a male urinate in a cup. Is that not an act of perversion? But hey, they're here to protect children, right? While their caseworkers can be perverts.
Yeah, honey, I don't care. You can watch the video. I'm not out of line. I'm not out of line. I said, ma'am, are you going to let me watch your fucking man?
Now, we're going to go on to let's go here. Now watch this.
This is to do a walkthrough of my children.
He's wanting to gain entry. She says, no, I'm going to video everything and show you everything, but you can't come in.
Yeah, I know. No, that's okay. I'm going to go ahead and email it to you anyways. I had some other things emailed to you. No, I can't. I cannot email you what the house looks like. Oh, I know how things work, though. Because you're concerned. But you know
right there. Now, hold on. Did you see that? Guys, I want you to watch this again right here. See this foot? That's past the threshold. She is now legally in the home without a warrant or court order. The threshold is the definition of entry into a home. She was not invited in. She has now crossed the threshold, violating these people's Fourth Amendment rights.
If I said I had COVID or civil rights, you know what I mean? Either way, you're gonna come through.
You have right if you don't want in the house. It's either a yes or no. If not,
no, he's got a bathroom.
Coercion.
But you cannot
use our bathroom.
There's the foot.
Huh?
Slowly encroaching in. This is what they're trained to do. Slowly push in, coerce.
No, it's not denied access to the home. I said I'm going to give you a walkthrough by virtual. You don't have to come inside. Tell me what you're looking for.
If you'll notice, this is the stuff in this bag that she's trying to collect stuff for this sample. That's not a medical grade or a secured bag with a chain of custody on it. That's required to be on there. This is why people are complaining about tampered with drug tests. That's why they're done at a professional facility that is accredited, and the people that work there have the proper credentials.
Like I said, you don't have to. It is if you want
if
to.
it's consent, it's voluntary, right?
Whenever you come for
coercion, consent.
I just want to say for the record, he wants to consent, but I don't. So that's how that works. If there's a warrant and somebody tries to kick in the door and wants to come in, and I say no, he says yes, the answer is no.
We don't have to have a warrant. If the if the parent is willing, we do the walkthrough.
Right. But I'm just saying, if he's willing, but I'm not, ma'am.
She's here for him, not here for her. So she's gonna stomp all over her constitutional rights with her children because she still lives in that home. You see how that works? Both parties have to consent when you have people or that situation like that. Both must be like that. There's no privilege or anything else with that. She still lives there. She has a right to say no, but both must agree. That's what the case law says.
The record, he is willing, but I'm not. But I'm just doing that because you know what? I'm interested in protecting his interests as well.
I'm just here to find out what's going on behalf of those children. Okay, I'm just here for him. You're just a girlfriend for right now. I just need to talk to him.
Okay.
So all that back and forth, there's no call for it, there's no need for it, okay? There's no need.
Let me ignore your constitutional rights. I'm just here for him, but you still live in the same dwelling, but ignore your constitutional rights.
Like I said, when it comes to the department, it's a yes or no. There's no in between the line. Willing to do a virtual walkthrough during COVID. Or no, because if that was the case, I understand there's no COVID. Because if that was the case, you could just reach out to any parent. I could say, "Baby, send me a video to your home," right?
Yeah, but we don't have COVID.
If that was the case,
but here's the thing.
If that, like I said, if that
he
was
says yes, I say no.
like
And so the bottom, I explained to him that I know this last test.
It's the bottom line of it.
Arguing over constitutional rights.
With all due respect as well. Okay, you have a beautiful home, and you know this. I'm sure.
What do you got to look at that, right? Or what are
We just told you.
No, but you're going to be allowing.
Whenever
You're contracting with our communicators. You know that, right? So you're consenting to this drug test too. And then when you let her into the house, like that, you don't have to. I don't know why you don't just speak to the attorney first. They'll tell you the same thing. I know. Trust me, I do.
Oh, you can reach out to your attorney right now. They will tell you the same thing every step, okay? It's up to you to let somebody make decisions for your kid. But like I told you at the beginning of the day,
that's like
your son is not with you, but you feel with her right now.
Well, yeah,
so he's like getting abused by him, he's getting blackmailed and extorted by you.
You have a map, it's a yes or no. You have a map, it's a yes or no, and it's a done deal, it's finished. Okay? That is all. This is your kid. She's just your girlfriend.
Hold on a second. He can go pee though, you don't have to come in, right?
We stand back to make sure that they just pee. Okay? We don't come in to go in the back and we just stand back.
Hold on a second.
He may not be one that's tempted, but we do have people that tempted.
Okay,
what do you ever go
you know what? That's crazy.
I have to gain entry to watch them perform a urine sample test with a door cracked open in your own home. That is called seizure under the Fourth Amendment. This is so unconstitutional, it's disgusting.
Baby, wait a minute. She's not going to come watch you in the bathroom.
We don't watch you. I stand by the back. We don't watch you.
Would you with the door open or with the door shut?
The door cracked.
The door cracked.
Yes. We don't.
Do you let people come up into your house with the door cracked to go to the bathroom?
You go do a drug screening and they just tell you.
You know what I do? I do hair follicles and I pay for them by myself. I don't need a referral. You know?
We're not
I
gonna
don't.
argue. And the kids are like that. The kids are like that.
I know. You can't. I'm not arguing, but I'm defending. You can write down what you want, but I'm defending my rights. But I don't want you in here without a warrant. So I'm just making sure we understand here. Did you trip, baby girl?
Coercion, push.
Jada, go
What
find
they
your
should
sister.
do is shut the door.
He's not. I mean.
But people have been taught how to take it to it. Now, eventually they get in. Now, here's the caseworker. Watch this. This is going to blow your mind. Look at that. None of that meets any of the criteria or those things, samples, anything else. That's a basic Ziploc bag.
Yeah, I understand that. Like, if that was at your office completely, right? But that's our house.
Can I focus on Bobby? Because I'm talking about Bobby. This isn't a question of Bobby child. I understand that you his girlfriend.
This lady should be thrown under the jail.
I know he's just been abused by this woman.
But this is what they're trained to do.
Please and thank you. Allow me time to talk with Bobby.
Okay.
If I have any question for you, which you're willing not to answer the question because you're more into the back and forth and the fighting. Our job is not to fight with no parents.
I'm not fighting.
Not to fight, but to comply.
But you, at the same time, you know that you don't like what I'm saying. I'm not fighting with you. You know that you don't like what I'm saying. I'm saying civil rights. I'm saying that, like, what the truth is, with coercion and to the drug screen and all that, and like that.
Okay, Krista.
Right. We know that.
Let alone anybody that's ever done a real tox screen or a real drug screen. Number one, you go into a sealed room. Everything is monitored. The sink is wiped clean. There's usually something in the toilet to tell whether or not you've urinated in the toilet or anything else. You know, they've got all sorts of ways of doing this. With this, she can tamper with that sample at any given time. Watch how she'll try, and like I said, I believe it comes through here and collects it, and now doesn't even put a sticker on it, doesn't sign off on it, chain of evidence. Everything's out the damn window on this thing. This is why these are just bullshit. In their home, collecting evidence without a warrant or court order.
Why don't you get
None
one
of
of the
this is
clips that Mommy got? Why
admissible in
don't you get
court.
one of the stars?
And look, now she's all up in the bathroom. Watching another, you know, once again, all through there. How do you know?
What is it?
Negative
That was fast. That was like 5 minutes.
Sometimes, baby, it's just best to do what we have to do.
I know, baby. I know.
Just comply, just comply. And there's a guy that doesn't know his
We
rights.
already talked about these.
Now watch her. She's going to block it. But I wish they get a better picture. But she's going to
Would you
collect
say I don't
this.
allow trash in the bathroom?
She's going to take pictures of it with her camera and everything else.
In my bathroom,
That is
especially, I don't
not
need
the
to
same
bring
thing
it to
as
the
hard
bathroom.
evidence. That's supposed to be turned over to a lab.
All right.
I'm sorry
So-
about the trouble. It's just,
I mean, it's
if you
okay.
knew the whole background
Now look.
story and why you're in here, I mean, this is...
Now we're just going to, you know, here, just let me show you the rest of the house, everything else. Doesn't take the sample, doesn't do anything else. Was it contaminated? How do we know this? No chain of evidence.
And then we got his Jordan.
Guys, that's, wow. Just wow. Yeah, and all in front of the children. All in front of the children. They say they're there to protect. This should just turn your stomach. That woman, this is why your Second Amendment is so important. You've entered the home with nothing else done. Now you're going to say that's a little rough. Well, I'm going to tell you something else that's going to blow your mind. And we've got a whole nother thing for it. It's going to blow your mind too. Let me get through here, and I'm going to get this other one set up. And well, here's another one. We've got somebody that says, let's see here. Give me a second here. And let me turn this one on. This one's going to blow your mind. Watch this.
Saying that I got to have a professional give me a drug test, that I don't trust you, that I'm refusing?
You are refusing.
That's what you're saying?
So if you don't comply,
You hear that? I said I will take a drug screen by a professional. It won't be by a DSS worker in a bathroom.
We've taken them before, so nobody can tell them the funny business.
we've taken them. Listen,
Professional. Where they come into the bathroom with you, it's professional. Everything's professional. They send it off to a lab. Nobody can do nothing.
now I want you to notice something in this video. You don't see him yet,
I want to be. I already know all about.
but you're going to see a deputy back there in the back there.
We just got lied to, people.
And you're going to see an officer in the background on a civil case to back up CPS and intimidate. That's called intimidation.
Well, we could have got
Here, I'll give you a little.
the law states that you can let them at your door and let them look in, and they're saying that the law is wrong.
They want in. I want in your home. There's even curtilage. They're questioning this.
Now it's perfectly fine.
On curtilage.
A while ago it was a
Illegal.
refusal. Now it's fine.
No, sir, I'm explaining to you, if you want to pay for it, you're welcome to go to the hospital, but you're refusing to screen for me or Mr. Company as workers for the department.
And they're going to report the out. We refuse.
We want to go to a professional bureau.
Videoing doesn't make sense.
It does, but still.
Oh yeah, I'm just making sure ain't nobody lying or nothing like that.
Because I want to go to a professional.
Yeah, that's saying ain't nothing against you. It's just
My kids come.
Do you have relatives in the community that can make placement so you can find a more stable?
So this is not stable. So you're trying to take my kids from me right now. So you're threatening to take my kids from you right now because there's thousands of people that live in apartments like this until they get moved into a place. But
Now watch as they escalate and they start to get more arguments. That officer, there's that officer. See his arm, that badge right there,
So how is
standing
that
right
bad?
behind,
So how?
old girl right there.
So you agree with that? This is the roof over their heads. There's food. There's ways of making food, and they're threatening to take my kids. How
If
is
you
that
don't
even
comply,
right or
we'll
legal
take the
that they
kids.
can even try to do that when I've done nothing wrong?
Listen, we're just here for protection, right?
Protection of me.
That officer should be removing those CPS workers. There's another one.
My kids are not going anywhere, plain and simple. I have not done anything wrong. This is not bad. I'm not, no. My kids are not going anywhere, plain and simple, to be over my dead body for you to try to take my kids from me.
Lisa, calm down.
I am not allowing you to think that you're just going.
So now they're trying to bully
And
us.
try to bully. Exactly, that's what I was about to say. Bully me, and then think that I'm going to go in my own bathroom to pee with you when you don't want to send me to a professional place because y'all don't. It's a professional place. I want to go to a hospital.
Welcome to go. There's nothing.
Exactly. Yes, I'm more than welcome. But you're going to say that I am refusing because I won't go in my own bathroom and piss with you. I'm not.
If you don't comply, we will
And
take your
how do I
children.
know that I can trust you? That I go in there and y'all just screw with it on the way down.
You feel it.
That's your right. You still have it. I want it.
Let me say this. Because it's obvious here. The way the drug screens are done, you would do it. You would be the one to cast it.
It doesn't.
That's coercion by a police officer to obtain something illegally protected out of your body by the Fourth
There's a
Amendment.
preliminary, and then if it needs to be sent off to the lab, it's sealed in your presence.
If you test positive for something, you will see right there on it what you test positive for.
Yeah, coercion. Coercion by that officer. That is violation of your oath there, buddy.
I want to go to a hospital
You have the
around
option.
professionals.
You have the option.
I do have that.
Would you listen to me?
I'm sorry. I'm
You're over talking to me, and I mean, I'm kind of the middle guy, unfortunately, in this whole situation.
You shouldn't even be in that situation, buddy.
Get along with the DSS and their guidelines. You have the
But this is what we're talking about, where the state has empowered law enforcement not to enforce their or uphold their oath to protect the people. That we, the people, are the government, and they are to assist with CPS and this and that, and not to get in the way, and not even arrest them for stuff. They've been given a national stand down order.
They're here to investigate a complaint. If they don't
Investigate a complaint without me. I have a Fifth Amendment right. I do not have to cooperate. You have the right to do it.
And someone says there's drug use and stuff like that in the home, and they don't come to check, or something happens to them, then they're liable. They're obligated to check these out.
Nobody's picking on it.
I feel like I am. I want to go to mechanics.
Well, you're more than welcome to do that.
There's doctors, there's nurses, there's staff there, and I trust that. I don't trust DSS, but as far as I can use it,
That's perfectly fine. You don't have to pay for that yourself.
that's fine. How much does it cost?
I'm not really sure. You would have to ask him. I don't know.
Because I don't think
If you have insurance, it may cover it.
Hear the trauma they're doing to the children. But we're here to protect the kids, right?
that is perfectly fine. I will do that.
And you can bring that in the morning.
You're causing trauma to this family and this children not feeling safe in their own home.
I have to have some relatives to place
There's no
this.
relatives that would take off of my kids.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. We got to cover this. Let me give it to your relatives. In the state of Tennessee, if you give over your rights to another person, this is called entrapment, people. This is the same thing that was done on my wife, and she will be testifying about. That is coercion to commit a felony. Giving your children over in the state of Tennessee is considered child abandonment and a Class C felony. That's right. They are trying to, you hear that? That is entrapment. And that officer witnessed, both of them witnessed that and did nothing. Nothing. And you've got similar stuff like that in your state, similar laws. That's entrapment. And that officer just witnessed those people trying to coerce her into possibly a felony and did nothing.
Would separate.
My kids, I don't want my kids separated, and my kids aren't going anywhere. There's no relatives around here that can take my kids in. I come back home to live in peace, not to have
Over
no
allegations.
to take my kids from me for fucking nothing.
What? Ma'am, you gotta have some stability, okay?
I came back here to be stable. I came back here to be in my hometown where I can actually live.
Sorry guys, we get all sorts of advertisements. No, that wasn't what you thought. It was actually a piece of fruit in the background. It's kind of disgusting. It's one of those visual things. So those of you who saw that screen, no, that's not what that was. It's actually Ripped Redneck is on there. He does follow us too. So you guys can look at that, and he's got a little bit of a dark sense of humor. Now I'm going to show you, you heard what she was talking about. We're going to remove the children. We're going to remove the children and everything else. It's very apparent that they don't have a clue, and this is how they're not even taught constitutional rights. And let me show you why it's what it is and what I'm talking about to back up and prove to you why this is a constitutional rights thing. No, you don't have to have safety plans. No, you don't have to any of this. You can kiss my 14th Amendment ass. And this is why. Right here, folks. Bam! The 14th Amendment guarantees parents will not be separated without their children without due process. Not accusations, not anything else except an emergency. That's called imminent danger. Rogers versus County. Do you see any imminent danger with those children? I see them running around doing this, and that, and yet law enforcement and everything else is there. The court emphasized that due process of the law requires a judicial court order and a meaningful opportunity to be heard before depriving individuals of fundamental rights. Wow. This is what I'm talking about. These people are not even trained or qualified to be in contact with the public at all. There are so many constitutional rights violations right within there that it's disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And it's crazy that people actually take and just roll over and allow this to happen. And now we've got another video for you. And I know there's a lot of videos, but it covers and explains, and it gives you a live example of so much that you guys can actually relate to. Watch this. And this is something that understands instituting not only your constitutional rights, but your Second Amendment, even coming from a sheriff. Check this out.
Whatsoever of who they were.
Wait, bang out.
Stay out of people's house. Stay out of their homes. If you don't, you'll end up like these last two guys have.
Get him. Here, pull. It's my arm, my left arm. See him back.
You don't have a right to forcibly break into someone's home. This is another incident where you just should have left. But when you came back to the house, it's not your home, and you tried to break in.
Wait, bang out.
And you're shot and killed while breaking into the house, that's a bad choice. And it's the last bad choice he'll make. To forcibly break into their home is a deadly decision.
Raw body cam footage posted on Police Activities YouTube page in Ogle County, Illinois on June 12, 2024. At 8:39 a.m., Ogle County law enforcement responded to a 911 call from a residence in the 400 block of Rice Lane. Family member reported that 32-year-old Jonathan had threatened himself and others. The situation quickly escalated, prompting the deployment of a SWAT team and hostage negotiators at 9:18. Despite repeated attempts to communicate with the guy inside of the house, there was no response from within the house. So at 11:51 a.m., they decided to bust down his door.
Heads up here.
See, when you go get a warrant, you have to go swear the fact that you know for a guaranteed fact, not on hearsay, not on allegations, not he said, she said, because anybody can call in and say that stuff. They have to do an investigation to make sure that it's properly done. Then before they go in that door or through that house, there was no probable cause. There's no way they could see. Nobody's hurting. There's been no gunfire. There's been nothing. Peaceably, just leave me alone. And they decide to escalate it, which they're not supposed to escalate. They're supposed to de-escalate and evaluate the situation. Instead, let's jump the gun.
Step up.
Bam. Now you're breaking into my house.
Wait.
Yep. That's the
Bang out.
There you go. Second Amendment.
Shots fired!
3 or 4 or 5 guys with a battering ram. They bust down the door, throw a flashbang, and run into the house completely unannounced.
Wait. Bang out.
Immediately upon entering the home, deputies received fire. Officers returned fire, incapacitating the individual inside of his own home. The suspect was found heavily armed in his own home with multiple firearms, a fixed blade knife, pepper spray, and ballistic armor. In my neighborhood, you're going to find probably all of that stuff in almost every single home in my neighborhood. During the exchange, several law enforcement personnel were injured. So a tactical fire department guy, tactical medic was struck twice in the body armor. There was a sergeant with the Oregon Police Department that sustained a gunshot wound to his upper arm. By the way, his upper left arm. And his buddy, as he's trying to drag him away, is dragging him by the arm.
Wow. Now, what we're talking about is regardless if they're who they are, when you breach a door and you don't have a warrant, you don't have those things, your constitutional rights have been violated, and you have a right to defend your home in all 50 states. That was an illegal entry by a sheriff's department. Yet they're going to take and turn around. And they're going to say, oh, that's doing this or not. No. You were at fault. You didn't have the warrant. It's not that hard to call and say, Your Honor, this is what we have. This is what we've noticed, this and that. Can we have entry? That's why those things are there. But once again, this is piss poor training by law enforcement. No, you got to take and get a warrant of some measure of sorts and have assigned to it the reason for the warrant. And it has to come from what? The proper Article judge and Article 3. Not in Article 1. They don't have the power. But how many things, everybody, you guys need to go look at your courts and who was signing those orders and everything else, especially to get in your house. Article 3, no, that's an Article 1 court. Well, how do I check that? Go to the website and see what that judge and what kind of courtroom they're in. If it's an Article 1, they don't have the right to sign shit. Neither does a magistrate unless they're in an Article 3 magistrate position. The law is clear, but the states are ignoring the Constitution. Why do you think we're doing what we're doing in this country now? We are going back to the Constitution. These people are going to have to be retrained. This is disgusting. You've watched all these videos through here of caseworkers and in parents' homes and this and that, administering drug tests, this and that. Just show that video to a federal courtroom, they're going to throw that woman in jail. You're going to sue the hell out of her. Unfortunately, the way some of our systems set up, you have to file your civil case. Filing it under a constitutional rights violation under a civil courtroom and making sure you have a good judge. Why? Because the state can't bump it down on a constitutional issue. Why? Because they don't have jurisdiction. The only one that has jurisdiction on constitutional rights matters is a federal courtroom. The state doesn't. I've heard several people say, well, I tried to do it for constitutional rights, and the courts wouldn't do it. You don't give them a damn choice. File your damn paperwork in the federal courtroom, do it under federal questions, do it under change of jurisdiction, check the box on the cover sheet, and put forth your question. Hey, if a caseworker started all of this stuff by, the very first thing, your first encounter was with a caseworker that illegally forced their way into your home, anything after that by any state official or law enforcement official is not entered in court. It's not. I mean, it's just not. It's not. It's called fruit from a poisonous tree. And now, a lot of you have asked, and we're going to go on just a little bit further, and a lot of you have asked about the letters for everybody doing the affidavits and this, that. We're going to share with you where the basis, and you have to understand that the letter is going to basically say you're a federal witness in the case, that you're part of a case and everything else. It'll have that list there, and it gives you the information if you feel that you're in danger or they're not complying in anything else, who to contact, how to contact. It'd be the U.S. Attorney's Office and or the U.S. Marshals that you would go to take and do that. And now, understand that when it comes to this thing within these affidavits, and this is what you come down like with your children and filling that, they're also witnesses. Now, we're going to take in and we're going to explain this here real quick so you guys understand. Let's go to a screen share here, and we're going to deal with this here. Now, you're going to deal with 18 U.S. Code subsection 3509. Child victims and child witnesses. Now, we're going to look at a couple of things. This is federal code. They're saying that they can't be interfered with the same way as an adult. Now, when I was looking through this, look what it says. Alternative to live in-court testimony. So if any of you have had a forensic interview played in your thing, it's actually illegal. You can't, because that's only one side getting to testify. This is talking about closed circuit TV. In other words, they're not even in the courtroom. They must be there. Your guardian ad litem is supposed to be there with the child when it's taken in the testimony, but both sides have got to be there, or any of the lawyers have the right to interrogate that particular child that is of age. You cannot just go in and have one-sided with a forensic interview, such as these CAC centers try to take and do. That's illegal and unconstitutional for due process. They have to be able to be cross-examined. Now, A lot of that, and it's just crazy. And, it's right there. You guys can look this up. 18 U.S. Code. Your child is becoming a witness. So when they turn around, well, how do you get your children back? It's real simple. They're a witness also against the state and all the actors. You have to return the children to them unless you have a criminal conviction of, obviously, a criminal conviction in the process or actively involved in a criminal case, not a civil case. Return the children, because right now we're witnesses against the state and against all your actors for constitutional rights violations to obtain these hearings. That's how you get them back. And that's an amazing thing to turn around and say. Now, and a lot of other things and other case law and other things that'll go with that. Let's share some of that also. Let's see. Let's see. This one here. Right here. Federal laws and case laws relevant to child witness protection. 18, look at this. 18 USC subsection 305. Talks about, protecting the children and this and that. Closed circuit, depositions versus that. Rules of evidence, deprivation of rights under the color of law. Troxel versus Granville. You guys need to write these down or go back and watch this and write these down. It talks about you have a liberty interest in the care, custody, and control of the child. The state cannot automatically intervene in family matters unless there is a showing or a conviction of neglect and abuse. That's a criminal act, not a civil. That's a criminal. Because it's a criminal. That's where they're hanging people up on. Well, that's a civil thing. No, that's not. And you have to agree to even go before those things, especially before a magistrate. Prince versus Massachusetts. If you're saying it's a religious matter or a First Amendment matter, as far as my upbringing, hey, my religious beliefs say this. There, right there, you're constitutionally protected, and your First Amendment rights. First Amendment protects the rights of parents to direct their child's upbringing, including their educational and religious beliefs. Goes into the right here, child, protections, all sorts of other things. Witness protection programs. It talks about if they're a witness, you got to keep them away from the ones you're testifying against. Are you getting it? Here, I'll take and zoom this in a little bit more. But it talks about this right here with all these case laws. And then you've got, like in our case, they were told, don't even bring the kids in the courtroom. Don't do this. Don't do that. That's not legal. None of it's legal. And this is what they're doing to families all across the country to steal children and to traffic them across state lines. You know how many cases I've talked to? Several thousands, hundreds of thousands of parents. My child's over in Texas. My child's up in Montana. Just one in South Carolina that they ship their kids all the way to Montana. The state's jurisdiction stops at the state line. They have no power or authority once you cross the state line. And there's nothing they can do. Hey, they were shipped here, but under this, there's no jurisdiction. A state can't take and have jurisdiction in another state. That's the way it goes. And when it deals with state-to-state stuff and going out the state, once again, that's the definition they have federally for trafficking. Removal or transporting without a lawful case. The other trick that they like to pull is they get close to some of these TPRs and stuff like that. CPS will start withholding the visits from the parents to alienate the child. And then they'll go to the judge. Well, every time they saw the parent, it caused, grief, and they were extremely upset. And of course they are, you idiot. You're causing it. It's called trauma. You're the one causing that child to break, and they miss their parents. It's all they've ever known. And now you're causing a trauma that is, once again, psychologically breaking them. And what that's called, and what we're going off of, is if you don't behave, you don't comply, and this is something China does, believe it or not, is this is a system known as the social credit system. that is extremely illegal in our country. And we're going to show you a definition for that there. And we've got that one. Let me get into this image. And bear with me. I got to find it again. Let's see. Where are we at with that one? This one right here. There we go. This right here. Nope, that's the wrong one. Sorry, guys. Let me find it again. But what we're talking about is that social credit system that, oh, it's right after that. My bad. Wrong place I clicked. So we're going to take and look at this here. This is what China's dealing with. Okay. This is what they're talking about with, now don't tell me I lost it again. Where is it? That one. Hold on, let me find it. You'll have to forgive me, guys. Just give me 1 second. After the 15 USC. Okay. Find that 15 USC. My computer's just been really messing with me a lot, guys. Where is that thing? Did I go down too far? There it is. I believe this is it right here. Social credit system. This is something that China does. This is saying that if other people believe that you're not trustworthy or your behavior is not up to what they feel it should be, it's saying that they have the ability to come in, your neighbors or anybody else's social credit system is saying, hey, we don't believe that you're doing things the way we feel that it's going to do, with no evidence or no hard evidence of abuse or anything else, that we're just going to take somebody's word for it, that all of a sudden it's going to take and change everything, that we don't believe you. Well, here's the thing. The power rests within we, the people. We don't have to prove anything. The burden is upon the state and the court to prove those things, not the other way around. So it's up to them to meet the measure of law, not just suggestions or, well, we feel it's an issue. We feel this is this. Feelings don't mean shit in court. And that's why the family court system is an absolute joke and an insult to the law and to the Constitution. And when I say the law, yes, the law. And, that's one thing too, that, a lot of people don't understand. Well, the state doesn't have laws. They have codes and statutes. Those are not laws. And you can look that up under Black's Law Dictionary all day long. And you can ask it 1,000 times within the particular database. Is a code or a statute a law? And it will absolutely tell you, no, it is not. That is where we're going with this. The Constitution is very, very clear. We are going back there. We're not the only country going through this, going back to realizing what the deep state, the dark the corporation, whatever you may want to take and call it, that has done this across the world to do this. And a lot of other countries are watching us, especially this show, Ireland, Switzerland, Queensland, New Zealand, Australia. They go back and watch these and comment even after the show. They love the show. They're spreading the show on those continents. Why? Because this same thing is happening in their countries. I mean, we can show you stuff from all sorts of people that send stuff from other countries. And it's no different than what we're seeing recorded, you've seen right here in America. This is disgusting. But once again, the thing we have that other countries don't have is the ability to exercise all of our constitutional rights, including your Second Amendment. That's what it was in there for, to make sure when the elected and appointed officials became tyrants, we don't just have a suggestion to do it. It says that we have a duty to do it. We have a responsibility to stand up for our constitutional rights. And it's absolutely disgusting. And who do those apply to? They apply to us. Those that take it in, and they say, well, what about all these people that are going on that have come through and they're illegal? And no, the Constitution does not protect them. They don't have constitutional rights. And when you violate the Constitution, like these judges and magistrates and GALs and everything else, guess what? Your rights are stripped away because you're being charged with treason and sedition. It's not a joke. And under a lot of what's going on in this administration, everything else, even Kash Patel has turned around and said, hey, we've got those guillotines that Biden ordered. You know who those guillotines were designed for? People like you and me that made too much noise. That's what they wanted to do, is consider us, that we were trying to take over something, or we were trying to do this. Oh, well, they're trying to overthrow the government is the word that they say. That's not the case, because we, the people, according to the Constitution, are the government. You are just elected and appointed officials. And it's going to blow your mind with a lot of things. John, we would love, you can email me anything, gunning4cps at yahoo.com. We're looking at all sorts of things. Matter of fact, we've got a ton of evidence on the whole trafficking network. We actually, with some of the information, we have found out that it's actually one of the main hubs runs right through Knoxville, Tennessee. And we have the names of the companies and everything else that goes through there. When I say we've got some hardcore evidence that's really going to go crazy, it's nuts. And as far as any other movements or any other things that are going on there, ours is very unique. We're going directly after the state itself. And the actors are secondary. They're doing what the state has told them that they can do, and what they cannot do, and what they're able to do. Now, what they do beyond that, such as the judges and magistrates, they were supposed to be your checks and balances to make sure places like CPS didn't do that. But once again, they're making a ton of money. Now, here's the other part. Now, I know Malibu Dallas has done some things on this, and we've done some research on this and so on and so forth. But did you know when they open a case against you, that they actually the court takes out what's called a performance and a security bond, and sometimes have insurance on that and use it through the SPLC? Didn't know that they were making extra money on that, did you? Well, they do now. Because guarantee you, one of the things that we're going to send over is a nice fat subpoena. Produce those documents, please. Because we also know how to look those up. Yeah, and guess what? They probably did it in your case too. It's a secondary thing. It's a claim. How good can we get? So now that shows that everyone involved in this is making money, or has insured their bet that they're going to get this and collect on it. That's where the big money's at. Not just the little things through child support and some of the Title IV. That's some great things, but they're actually doing things between like a banking institution, taking out bonds and stuff against you and then cashing it in. Wow. How corrupt is it? It's that corrupt. Now, guys, I don't know about you, but this has got to stop. This is what the reckoning's about. This is what it's saying. No more. We, the people, will not tolerate this anymore. This is our case to stand up and put on the federal record the evidence of what we have against our elected, appointed officials and actors. This is where we start. Now, a lot of people, you're trying an insurrection. No, we're going to take and do this the right way. We're going to do it peacefully. We're going to take it this way, and we're going to let those that are in charge to correct as our Constitution says it will. If, which I don't foresee, that they do nothing, well, the evidence is now on the federal file. That's up to everybody else, because after that, once the whistle's blown and everybody gets a hold of what's been going on, how it's been going on, and what they've been doing, and the truth and the facts are brought out, they've been kidnapping your kids and reprogramming them. This has been a takeover, or an attempt to take over and reprogram our nation and get the American out of you. That's why the American dream is dead. They stole it from us. But now we're returning back to the Constitution, and there's not going to be another way. We are not turning back, because what they're taking care of up there, the administration, everything else, is cleaning up all the courts and cleaning up this and that. We're up here with the evidence of going, hey, we're bringing some more to you. Yeah. So when you talk about witness intimidation and all the other things, there is none of that. That's why, the difference between us and other, yes, you're turning in that federal affidavit with the possibility of being called to the stand as a federal witness for questioning. And with the overmounting number of people that they have, they're just going to drudge it on. Do we need to go on with it? No, this is going on in every state. Yes, Tennessee is part of a national child trafficking network as well as international. And those are the things that we have the evidence. We're going to put it on the record. We're going to prove it. And then the rest is up to the judge to hold them accountable, as well as, the Department of Justice and everything else. Unfortunately, the way a lot of things need to be redone too federally is we need to be able to contact the FBI directly and say, no, we don't want to go through the local government because it's corrupt. The entire state's corrupt. When you get a stand down order issued by the state to all law enforcement, especially for CPS, not to interfere, but only to assist, that's a violation of what a duly elected sheriff we've elected him to do, was to protect our constitutional rights against those people. They have the right, they have the ability, the power, and to even arrest the district attorneys, to arrest the judge or magistrate sitting on the bench when they hear. But are they trained? Is that sheriff's deputy or anybody? If you go to a federal court, it's a U.S. Marshal standing in there. If any of them acts up, they have the duty and the power to step in and say, I just heard you this. I'm a firsthand witness, and I'm placing you under arrest. And you got to understand, even within a federal courtroom, and you're dealing with people in the state, if you've proved that there's a crime there, you have the very ability to exercise a citizen's arrest right within a federal courtroom. The evidence has been presented, Your Honor. It's clear and convincing. We need, I'm placing them under citizen's arrest for these crimes and be able to articulate, but you got to be able to articulate those things and know your rights. And once again, if you hire an attorney, you're admitting to the court you are incompetent to stand in a courtroom. There's the problem with the Department of Education. They should be training children up from the time till the time they graduate. Why? Because they're ready to vote. They should be able to argue a case for their own self-defense and about their constitutional rights in a courtroom by the time you turn 18. Now, is that my opinion? No, they're receiving federal money, aren't they? Or they were. I mean, that makes a big, big difference. Now, what do? Now there's a huge, huge difference in what's going on. But guys, listen, there's a lot of stuff to cover. There's a lot to think of, but you guys are going to have to know your rights. You're going to have to study. We've given you some information on the judicial. Go back and watch the show. If not, it's on the channel. You can watch it at the end and replay it. Go through those things. Now you know how to fight your CAC centers to make sure that they're actually legal to even do anything they're doing. You've now looked at the judicial rules of what they need to the federal standard of what your judges and magistrates are supposed to do, and they're to be held accountable in all the rules they have to find or have to follow. So now you've got a bunch of tools. Now the question is, what you do with that is up to you, because once again, I'm not an attorney. I'm not an advocate. I'm just an average person with a case and a international freelance journalist reporting the news and the information to you. So a lot of people come in, I need help. I need this. Listen, I know you want instant gratification. I know your child's been taken away from you. It's a crappy situation, but until you sign up and do something for yourself and fill the gap in the void of the education and knowledge you should have been given, that now you have to do yourself, it's up to you. If your family means that much to you, you got to learn how to fight. It's not a joke. You guys have got to learn to stand up for yourself, figure out what it is you need to do, share and use platforms like this to help you, to challenge you, to look. Why? Because every case is different. No two cases are the same. My case is different than, say, John's case, or, several other people, Heather's case, Lewis's case. They're not all the same, and different things will apply to their case that does not apply to mine. And that's why somebody comes out a lot of times and says, hey, help me, help me, help me, to do this and to do that. Yes. Is this a whistleblower case? Thank you, John. Yes, this is a whistleblower case. This is enough to bring in those that are held accountable, our elected appointed officials, is to turn around and say, I'm holding you accountable. And I have the right to call anybody in the federal courtroom and hold them accountable. Why? Because you're an elected or appointed official or actor. I have a right to question you so long as it's pertinent. And you can articulate the fact of how pertinent it is. So guys, I know we've ran over a little bit. We covered a lot of information. I hope you guys enjoyed the videos, some of the examples, and to pointing out some of those things of your constitutional rights. Educate yourself. Watch what you're doing. Make sure that you're getting from good sources. You can confirm stuff yourself. Do that research. Be your best advocate, just like you're your own first responsible. When it comes down to how do you expect to take and articulate that to a law enforcement officer and to anybody else, let alone a judge or anything else, let alone to your attorney, and to have them fight the right way if you so choose. Guys, have a great evening. We'll keep you up to date as things go on. We'll let you know when we're on the other show. We're looking forward to that. We're getting a lot of those, and we're going to pick and choose some of those that we're on to actually share what we're doing here. We love you guys. Help each other, love on each other, and if you're having thoughts of suicide or anything like that, please don't give up. Reach out to somebody that's going through the same. Share your pain together. Why? Because pain in numbers also becomes strength. Encourage each other. Hold each other up. That's what we're here for. That's what we're going to do, because that's where we're going to defeat them. Thanks again, guys. Have a great night. Time to empty the clip. They labeled us monsters.
In the United States, CPS makes upwards of $3 billion per day on trafficking and selling our children. The corruption may start with the caseworker, but goes through the judicial system, passing the governor through the Senate and into the White House. The entire system has a hand in the business known as CPS.
Our children are stolen every minute of a 24-hour day. They are being robbed of their innocence, their trust, their happiness. As parents, we are isolated and betrayed by a government we trust. States are balancing budgets on kids' lives. Only 12% of the kids taken will be reunified. Title IV funding is being riveted with fraud.
We need to stop CPS and abolish CPS.com is leading the way. Join us.